Okay, so we saw what does a pop do, right? Let's see what are the other methods, okay? And other than pop, we have shift. What does it do? It removes array element and returns the element. So it removes the first element from the array and returns the element. Okay, so let's see how does that work. So I'm going to go back to my VS Code here and make use of shift. Shift removes first element from the array, right? So I have this book. I'm going to say book dot shift. Okay, and let's try to print it. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say after shift. Okay, and let me not use the template literal. I'll just use the double quotes. Book. Okay, and let's see. So I saved it, and let's see the output, which is over here. Okay, so after shift, what was my first element? My first element, if you'll see, is JavaScript, right? This was my first element. Now see that first element is removed here after shifting. So now after shifting, it is math, physics, bio, and computer science. The first element is being removed. When you use pop, pop removes the last element. So for example, when I did, this was my original list, and after popping, what happened? The Spanish was removed. After shifting, what happened? The first element, okay, that is JavaScript, is being removed, right? So that's how it works. Now, how does the splice work? Splice removes the element in a particular index, okay? So if we'll use splice, splice, what does it do? It adds or remove element from anywhere in the array and returns the deleted element if any. So what does it do? Let's see. Okay, so herein, okay. So what does splice do? Splice adds or remove elements from anywhere in the array and returns the deleted elements if any. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna say book dot splice. Okay, and I'm gonna start splicing up two. So it starts deleting from the first index and delete two elements. Okay, there are different format of the splice. If you'll see, here in the tutorials, okay, what does it say? If this is my array, and you say number dot splice 3, it deletes all elements from index 3 to the end. Okay, so that means 0, 1, 2, 3. So it deletes all the elements from index 3 to the end, right? So, and if you are using two elements, so 0, 2, then it will start deleting from the first index and will delete two elements from there. Okay, let's see here in our VS Code. Okay, so this is my VS Code. Let's see what does the console shows, okay? After splicing two elements, okay? And I'm gonna write book. Let's see. Okay, console is not a function. It gave me an error. Okay, instead of console.log, I just wrote console, that's why. Okay, after splicing two elements, so my array was math, physics, bio, computer science, right? Okay, and I splice from index 1, that is physics will be removed. So What does it say? Is math, physics, bio, computer science. It has removed 2 elements from index 1. So physics is removed and bio is removed, right? Physics and bio is removed. So that's how the splice work, okay? You provide indexes. So first index and the second index will account for how many elements are there. I mean, how many elements are to be deleted, okay? You can try the other ones as well, okay? The best way to learn this is to code and check, okay? Now, there is one function with the arrays that return the number of elements inside an array. Okay. So for example, I want to see how many elements are there in the array. So in that case, what I would do is I'll say console dot log and my array name, that is book dot length. Okay. So book dot length is a ready function that returns the number of elements inside an array. Okay, let me print it properly. So here on, I'll say number of elements in array, okay, and I'll say comma book dot length. So technically, how many elements are there in the array now? We have just seen that we have removed 2 elements. So let's see what does it print, okay? So number of elements in the array is 2 because we have math and computer science, right? So number of elements. Now, what does an array name dot length do? It will return or it will print the number of elements inside an array. Okay, that's what it do. So for example, if I have this array, if I'll comment all those things, okay, if I'll comment all this code, then now my array is this: math, physics, bio, computer science. So how many elements are there in an array? Now there are total 4 elements in an array, right? So let's see what does it print now. So number of elements in array is 4, right? So that this is a very important function that we use with array a lot of time. Okay, and a lot of time you'll be dealing with array. So this is an important function with that. Okay. Now, if I want to see the particular index of a particular element, okay. So for example, let's say I have this, okay, and I want to see what is the index of biology. Okay, what is the index of biology? If I want to see the position at which the biology is stored, I will say book dot index of. Okay, and it should return me 2. So let's see. And I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna create one variable. Position is equals to book dot index of. Okay, index of. And I'm gonna add something. So my list is this one, and I'll say physics, let's say. What would it return? See, physics is at index 0, 1, right? Physics is at index 1. So it should basically return me 1. So let's try to print it. Console dot log. And I'm going to say position of, what was it? Physics, right? Is position. Okay, and let's see. Okay, see, position of physics is -1. Okay, why it is printing -1? It should. Okay, let's see what is wrong here. Okay, the spell, see, if it does not find what you're looking for, it will return -1. Okay, see why it is returning -1? Because I wrote physics, I write the correct spelling, but if you'll see my array, the spelling is wrong. Okay, so it did not find that physics in here, and that is why it is returning -1. Now I'll correct the spelling over here. Okay, and now it should find this. So I'm gonna save it and let's see in there. it is saying position of physics is 1. Okay, so it tries to find out the element that you're putting it over here, book.index of. If it does not find the element, it will return -1. Okay, let's try another one. So for example, I'll try bio. Okay, now see, the bio is not there, right? Is bio there in my array? Yes, bio is there in my array. If I'll write biology, okay, and herein I'm gonna say biology. Okay, so I'm gonna say biology. Now see, biology is not there in the array, right? So it should show me -1. So if it finds, it shows one, I mean the position. If it does not find that element, it returns -1. So see here, it is saying -1. Now I'll correct it and let's see. So here, instead of this, I'm gonna say bio. Okay, because bio is stored in my array. So now see, position of biology is 2. So is the position 2? Let's see. Biology is at position 0, 1, 2. Yes. Okay, so that's how the index of thing work. Okay. Now, if you want to find out whether it is an array or not an array, okay. So if you want to find out whether your variable is an array or not, the way you do it is you used a function called as isArray, and it will return either true or false. So for example, I'll write it as console.log, and I want to check is book an array. Okay, I want to check if book is an array, and I'll say book, sorry, I'll say array dot is array, and I'll provide the name of the array that I'm trying to check. Okay, and it will return it as is either true or a false. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna run this. And is book an array? And it is saying true because we have defined book as an array. Okay, let's check it with another example. So let's say I'll write it something else. Okay, I'll write it book 1 equals to, let's say, English. Okay, now book 1 is not an array, it's a word, right? But if I want to check if book 1 is an array or not, I'll use this. Okay, and I'll say is book an array, array dot is array, and herein instead of book, I'll write it as book 1. Okay, let's check. So technically it should output a false, and see, it is outputting a false over here because book 1 is not an array, it's a string, right? So that's how the isArray function works. Now there's one more function called as split. Okay, and what does it do? It will split the array, okay, or it will just make an array. So let's see, let's understand it. How does it work? Okay, so I'm gonna take one text and I'm gonna say this is a random text. Okay, and I want to put it in an array. Okay, I want to put this into an array and split it by spaces. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So I'm gonna say let word array equals to text dot split. I'm just gonna use space. Okay, and let's try to print it. So I'm gonna say console.log, and I'm gonna do this. Okay, and word array. So this is my text. Okay, I try to split it like this and print it. So let's see what does it do. Okay, now you see it has converted that random text into an array. If you see here, it is converted into an array, split it by spaces. Okay, there is a space in between. Now, if I want to split it using this operator, okay, colon. So the words should be separated by colon. Okay, so in that case, let's see what does it do. It has not done anything. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a random text. And why it is not doing it? Because the word is not colon, it is join. Okay, so this is my array. Let's say I want to use a separator in between. Okay, so I'll say let text join equals to this should have worked. Okay, book dot join to display as text, and my book is okay. Let's see, what is it to? Okay, because I have not printed console.log text join. Okay, so see, this was my array, math, physics, bio, and computer science. And to convert an array into a random text, I mean, not a random text, but into a text, you can just simply say it as join. Now, let me show you properly, okay? Let's first print the book array. So I'm gonna say console.log book, okay? And then whatever was there inside the book array, I tried to convert it into a text instead of showing it as an array, okay? I'll print it properly, book array. Okay. And herein I'll say after text join. Okay, let's see. Control S for saving. And see, the book array was math, physics, bio, and computer science. After saying the join, it converted into a text like math, physics, bio, and computer science. You see, so if there is a text and you want to convert it into an array, what do you use? You use a split. Okay, split is used to convert a text into an array. So if you'll see, this was my text. This is a random text. With split, I converted into an array. If there is an array and if you want to convert it into a text, you use join. Okay. Now, why do we use a space in between? So that the elements are separated by the space. Okay. You can put anything that you want. So let's say if I put an S here, it will split, it will remove the S. Okay. Let's see. It should do this. I am not sure why it is not doing it. Yeah. So see here, it has removed that S. So THI, this is a random text, but now see it has removed that S from there, right? So that's how the split and the joins work. Okay. Now if you want to join two arrays, okay, so for example, I have an array. Let me comment this out. Okay, and let's create two arrays. Okay, so let's say I have an array book2 equals 2, and I'm gonna say Spanish and French. Okay, so I have this array. I'll create another array. Let's say new book. Okay, and I will add, let's say instead of new book, first let's add book 2. Okay, and book 2 is English and Japanese. Okay. Let's say Chinese. Okay, so in that case, if I want to, okay, why it is showing an error here? I'm not sure. Okay, so if I want to join these two arrays, the way you're gonna do it is, you're gonna create a variable. Let's say let new book equals to book2 dot concat. Okay. And then in the bracket, you're going to say, so herein I'm going to say book one dot concat book two. So here in book one dot concat book two. And let's see, let's print all of them. So I'm going to say console.log. I'm going to print book one. I'm going to print book two and new book. So I'm going to print book one, book two, and new book. Okay, let's see. Okay, so book one was Spanish and French, book two was English and Chinese, and now see, by using concat, the both of these arrays are joined. So it is Spanish, French, English, and Chinese, right? So this is how you can concat two arrays. Okay, now let's talk about the loops. Okay, so this is mostly about arrays, and if you'll see, you have these tutorials that is being posted. Okay, now there is one more concept called as destructuring assignment. Now what is a destructuring assignment? That is in JavaScript, that allow destructuring assignment is a JavaScript expression that allows you to unpack values from arrays or properties from objects into distinct variables. Data can be extracted from arrays, objects, nested objects, and assigning to variables. In destructuring assignment, on the left-hand side defined that which value should be unpacked from the sourced variable. Okay, so for example, this is an array, okay, and destructuring means you are actually retrieving values basically, right? So first name is name of 0, name at index 1, which we have just seen. Okay, similarly, you can create two variables and can put the values and assign values to those two variables. So here in, for example, array and index x, array xy equals to 10, 20 means x is 10 and y is 20. So you're assigning value according to its position. Okay, I would suggest you to go through these tutorials and also to the practice sessions. Okay, the practice document that is being posted on your module. Okay, now let's talk about what does it mean by loops, a very, very important concept in programming. So I'm gonna add one file for explaining loops. Okay, now see, what is a loop? Okay, when you have to repeat a segment of code, we call it as a loop, right? So again, if you'll see here on your course module, okay, the tutorials for loop is also being posted over here. Okay, so, and practice on the loops is posted as well. Okay, so I would suggest you to go through these practice problems to have a better understanding of the concept. Now let's discuss what is loop. Okay, loop is when you have to repeat a segment of code. Okay, so for example, when you brush your teeth till you are done with brushing all the teeth, right? So for example, again, let me see if I have that. Okay. Let's take an example of frosting a cupcake. Okay. Now, if you know how to frost a cupcake, right? You put the cream in a cone and then you do like this to frost one cupcake, right? Same procedure you do to frost 12 cupcakes. So you repeat the same procedure until all the 12 cupcakes or 16 cupcakes that you are trying to frost is being done, right? That is a loop, okay? Same thing when you brush your teeth, you brush the first teeth and same procedure you apply to brush all the teeth, right? So when we talk about loop, we are talking about repetition. Okay, so when you have to repeat the same segment of code again and again, we put it inside a loop. Now, whenever you run a loop, you have to have a stopping condition to stop the loop as well. Okay, so for example, when you brush your teeth, you stop when all the teeth are being brushed, right? When you frost one cupcake and when you have to frost 12 cupcake, what do? You keep doing it until all the 12 cupcakes are frosted. So that is your stopping condition, right? So every loop has a stop condition as well. In JavaScript, you have three types of loop, that is while loop, you have do while loop, okay, and you have a for loop, okay. Okay, so you have while loop, you have do while loop, and you have for loop, and for loop is not popping. This one. Okay, there are different types of for each for loop, okay, that we're going to discuss later. I want to walk you through the simplest one first, okay. So I'm just going to put the for loop over here. So there is while loop, there is do while loop, and there is for loop. Now, if you'll see the syntax of while loop, how does it look like? While you provide a condition over here, until this condition is true, your loop is going to execute, okay. For example, let's see an example, okay? So I'm going to comment this and let's see an example. So let's say I have a variable. Let's say I'm going to say I equals to 1, okay? So I'm going to say while I is less than equals to 10, console dot log I, okay? Now what will it do? As I said, and I'm going to also increment I by 1, okay? As I said, while loop works until this condition is true. So these statement that you see will keep on executing until this condition is true. Okay, see how does it work? I equals to 1. So the value of I, let's write it over here. Okay, so let's say this is the value of I. Herein I'm gonna check if I is equals to 10. And then herein I'm gonna print I. Okay, so I'm gonna say console dot log I. Okay, and herein I'm gonna say I equals to I plus 1. So how does it work? First, I is equals to 1. Okay, it will check. It checks here, right? Herein it is checking. If I is less than 10, yes, I is less than 10. So this condition is true. And until this condition is true, your loop is going to execute. So what does it print? It print the value of I. What is the value of I? The value of I is 1. Right? Now, I is incremented by 1. So let's increment the I now. So I is 1. It is incremented by 1. So the value of I will now become 2. Okay. Now what is the value of I? It's 2. Is 2 less than 10? Yes, 2 is less than 10. So the condition is true. What does it do? It will print the value of I. What is the value of I? 2. Now what does it do? It will increment I. So what will be the value of I now? 2 plus 1 is 3. See, I is equals to I plus 1. I was 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Now see, what is the value of I? 3. Is 3 less than 10? Yes, 3 is less than 10. So this is true, right? Now, what does it do? It will print the value of I, which is 3. Okay, now what is the value of I? I becomes 4, right? This will go on till this condition is satisfied. Okay, so if I'll see this thing, this will go on, right? This will go on until I equals 2. So this will go on until I equals to 10. So let me put it, I is equals to 10. What will it check? Is 10 less than equals to 10? Yes. 10 is not less than 10, but equals to 10, right? So This condition is true. Now, what will it print? It will print the value of 10, right? And now I equals to 11. Okay, now what happens? It will check. I is 11. Is 11 less than or equals to 10? No, false. So what will happen? The loop will terminate. It will end, okay, because this condition is false. Okay, now see, when you run this code, okay, let's run this code and check. So this one, I'm gonna comment, and I have, let me call it in the HTML page. So instead of this, I'll say loop.js. Okay, and let's run this. So I'm gonna run this and inspect. Okay. Fail to row result. Status of loop 1 is not found. Okay. Let's see why. Okay. So did I put it in loops.js? Yes. And did I wrote it as, okay, because it's loops. I was missing this S over here. So I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna see it is printing 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I hope the explanation of loops, while loop especially, is clear. So while this condition I equals to 1 is, while I is less than equals to 10, while this condition is true, the loop will execute. As soon as that condition becomes false, the loop will terminate. Okay, now see what will happen if I will not write I equals to I plus 1. In that case, it will check I is 1. It is true here, so it will print 1. But now there is no condition to increment the value of I. So loop will go into an infinite loop. Why? Because I is always less than 1 and this condition will always be true. So you have to avoid letting the loop go into an infinite loop. Okay, you have to always specify a condition over here to break the loop. Okay, so that is why this I is equals to I plus 1 is included. So going into an infinite loop is to be avoided unless it is a specific requirement of your program. Okay, and I hope the while loop is clear. Now, what is a do while loop? Okay, it is very much similar to the while loop, but what does it say? It will say do this, do this. Okay, it does not specify the condition here, but it will say do execute this while your I is less than equals to 10. Okay, so do execute this while this condition is true. That's how the do while loops work. Okay, so if you see the syntax, the syntax look like this. Okay, do this while this condition is true. Okay, let's see this. So same logic here. Do execute I is 1. So print, what will it print? 1 here. Now I is 2, right? So it will check here. Is 2 less than equals to 10? Yes. So now execute this 2. Okay, increment the I, which is 3. 3 less than 10? Yes. Execute, print 3. So same logic with the while loop. Okay, now if you'll see, it is still printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what is the difference between the while loop and the do while loop? Okay, while loop is being written like this. See, while. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's not generating. So I'm going to say while I provide the condition, and until this condition is true, it executes some JavaScript statement. So it checked the condition in the beginning itself. If the condition is false, it will not execute at all. But if you will see the do while loop, it does not check the condition. It just execute this and then check the condition. Okay. In while loop, the condition is checked in the beginning. Do while loop, the condition is checked at the end. Okay. So the difference, basic difference is do while loop will at least execute once before checking the condition. While loop, it does not execute at all if the condition is false, right? So here in, for example, if I'll write I equals to 11, okay, I'll write I equals to 11 here. Okay, now see what happens. Okay, I printed I is equals to 1. 11 is not less than 10. So technically it should not print, but if you'll see, it has printed 11. Why? Because it does not check in the beginning, it check at the end. So first it prints and then check, right? So if you want to execute your code at least once, put it in the while loop, otherwise put it in the while loop, okay? While loop, check the condition in the beginning. If the condition is false, it will not execute at all. However, the do while loop, how does it work? It will execute at least once before checking the condition. And that is the major difference between the while loop and the do while loops, okay? Okay. While loop basically generally used for input validation, okay? And we'll see what is it. So let's say I'll ask a user to enter a number, okay? So I'm gonna ask a user to enter a number. Now it is a number, so it has to be converted into %, right? Okay, okay. % or float, whatever, okay? Enter a number and I'll say between 1 to 100, okay? But if the number that the user has entered is not in between 1 to 100, okay, if it is, let's say 0, or if it is more than 100, then I should prompt the user to enter it again and again, right? So I'll say while number is less than 1 and number is greater than 100, I'm going to ask the user to enter the number, right? If it is not, then I'll just say, I'll just print the number, okay? Okay. So I'm going to prompt the user to enter the number between 1 to 100, but if the user does not enter a number between 1 to 100, I'll ask the user to enter it again, okay? And this type of coding is called as input validation, okay? And while loop is widely used for that, okay? So for example, let's save this code and go here. So enter a number between 1 to 100. Let's say I'll enter 12, which is between 1 to 100. So it will pop up the number, right? It has popped up and it is not printing the value. Why it is not printing the value? Because I put the number here. Why it did not print it the value? Alert number is, okay. Let's see why did not it printed the value. I'm gonna go again, enter number between 1 to 145. It's just saying alert number. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna use a template literal and check. And herein, it did not take the value of the number. NUMBER. Okay. Maybe it is not passing it in the alert function. So yeah. So now it is printing, right? Now see, again, I'll run this code and this time I'll not pass a value between 1 to 100. Let's say I'll do it as 101. Okay. Okay, and it is, but it is greater than, right? Okay, something is wrong here. While number is less than 1 and number is 100, number parse integer, prompt enter number between 1 to 100. Maybe I did not save it. Let's see again. Enter number between, okay. Oh, it should not print. Maybe because I'm using a alert function. I'll just use console.log and check again. Console.log. Okay. And I'll open the console, enter number between 1 to 100. Let's say 123. Okay, it is still printing. While number is greater than this, I'm gonna say console.log invalid number. And I'm gonna say enter a number between 1 to 100. Right. Okay. Okay. Less than 1 and greater than. Okay. Now run it. 123. Okay. Okay, it is still printing. Let me remove this and check. Is my variable correct? Yes. Okay. Okay, now it is working. Okay, so till I'm saying that the enter number between 1 to 100 and I'll say 1 and it is executing the code, right? Okay. So while loop is basically used for input validation, and what I have done is I have written a code to check whether the number is in between 1 to 100 or not. If it is not, then it will say invalid number, enter a number between 1 to 100. So till the user enter a valid number, it is going to give this prompt. Okay, so for example, herein, let's say I'll enter a number 0, okay, which is not between 1 to 100. So now again it is asking me enter a number and it already put invalid number on the console. So if you see the console, it has printed invalid number over here. Okay. Now enter a number between 1 to 100. Let's say I'll enter a number 200. Okay. And I'll say okay. And now see it is saying invalid number and this is second time, right? You see this 2. Again, I'll enter a invalid number. Let's say 900 and or 101. Okay, 101. Now I'll say okay and see it is saying invalid number. Now if I'll enter a valid number 34, the loop will terminate. Okay, so that's what I was saying. While loops are generally used for input validations. Okay, of course, it is used for looping as well, but it is also used for input validation. Now, the third type of loop is a for loop. Okay. So the syntax of the for loop, if you'll see the syntax of the for loop goes like for, you provide initialization. Okay. Initialization, semicolon, testing, semicolon, update. Okay. And then you provide the opening and closing parentheses. So this is how the for loop works. So for example, okay, herein, okay, I have to implement a for loop and I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So I will say for, I'll say let I equals to 1. It could be any variable. You don't have to necessarily use I. I is less than equals to 10 and I'm going to say I plus plus. Okay. Now see, I'm going to say console dot log and I'm going to put I over here. Okay. So how will it work? It will work similar to the while loops. It's just that in while loop, you are doing this initialization, testing, and update at 3 different places. Herein, you're doing it at one place itself. Okay. This one. So if how will it execute? It will check I is equals to 1. 1 is less than 10. Yes. Then increment I by 1. I plus plus means it is incrementing the value of I by 1. Okay, if you'll do I equals to I plus 10, it will increment the value by 10. Okay, So just to demonstrate, I wrote it as I++. Okay, now see if I will execute this, it will print, it should print. So Control S, go here. It's still working. Okay. It is not taking the changes. So what I would do is here, I'll run it from here. Okay. So I'm gonna run it again, open with live server. Okay, what happened? Hang. My computer is hang. Okay, let's go again here. Open with live server. Okay, it's hang. It looks like it is, yeah, it's taking time. Okay, inspect. Not letting me do. Okay, I have another way. Let's use a online editor. Okay. Looks like this is also hang. Something is wrong with my computer. Okay, let's see what is wrong. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, so I'm gonna close it and let's see. Open with live server. I do not want to restore. And right click. Still not working. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, it's not letting me open the inspect the page. So instead, okay, looks like there is something wrong and I'm trying to fix it. Okay, so this is an online IDE because my code is not working. I mean, not my code, but Google Chrome has stopped working. Something is wrong with it. So I just used an online editor here, and I'm going to copy my code from VS Code there. So this was the code of the for loop that I was trying to explain. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it in that online editor, which is this one. Okay. And I'm going to increase the fonts. So herein I'll go to settings, and here I'll say large, and okay. Okay. So I'm going to close it, and I was explaining the for loop. Now see, we write the initialization, testing, and update at the same place. Now see, when I run this code, okay. So that was the thing, and that is why, okay, because I wrote it as I is equals to I plus plus. Okay, I was demonstrating it and then I did not check. So that is why my Chrome got hang. Okay, and now see it prints as 1 to 10. Let's test my code as well. So herein I'll test it using my Chrome. This is I plus plus. Okay, I was explaining what happens when you write it as I is equals to I plus 10, and after that I did not changed it. So that is why I think it hanged my Chrome. Now see, I'm gonna run this code again, and let's check it in our Chrome. So I'm gonna, yes. So that was the reason it was going into an infinite loop. Now you see, what does it mean by infinite loop? You got a practical demo of the infinite loop. Okay, so herein it is printing from 1 to 10. Okay, that is how a for loop works. Now let's understand it with another example. Okay, now herein, let's say I want to print the multiplication table. Okay, so if I want to see the multiplication table of any number, how does it looks like? You write it as 2 times 1 equals to 2, right? 2 times 2 is equals to 4. Then you write 2 times 3 equals to 6, etc. Right? Till 10. So I want to repeat it till 10. So I will say I is less than equals to 10. I starts with 1. Now the way you're going to print the multiplication table, I'm going to say console.log. Okay, what do I want to print? I want to print the number first. So my number is 2, right? So I'm going to say template literal is one way you can do that. So I'm going to say 2 times, and what is iterating? Our I, right? Because I is the one that is iterating. First iteration, it is 1. Next iteration, it is 2. Then it is 3. Then it is 4, right? So I'm going to say 2 times I equals to, and product. So 2 times I. Okay. Now see, how does it work? Okay. It says herein, let me show you the working of it. Okay. I is 1, right? Is I less than equals to 10? It will check here and it will put I plus plus. Then it will print console.log. Okay. So herein I equals to 1. First iteration, 1 is less than 10. This is true. So it will work until this is true, right? Then I plus plus, that is I is equals to 2. I plus plus will happen after console.log. Okay. So herein I'll say I plus plus. Now, console.log, it is true. It will print 2 times. What is the value of I? The value of I is 1 and equals 2. What is 2 times 1? 2 times 1 equals to 2. So that will it print, okay? Now what will happen? I plus plus equals to 2. So second iteration, second repetition, 2. 2 is less than 10, true. Okay, what will it print here? What will it print here? It will print 2 times 2 equals to 4. What is the value of I? I is equals to 3. Now again the value of 3. True, right? Then it will print 2 times 3 equals to 6. This will go on till this condition is true. That is till 10, right? Let's execute this and check. Okay. What does it says? Could not establish connection, receiving end does not exist. Okay. 2 times I equals to, okay. Oh, this is JavaScript. This is not Python. So we have to use a dollar sign here. Okay, now see. So 2 times 1 equals to 2. 2 times 2 is equals to 4. 2 times 3 is equals to 6. See how much it has simplified the table of multiplication. It's just a 3-line code, right? 1, 2, 3. 3-line code. Okay, I hope you understand this. Now, one of the very, very interesting part of, instead to use a for loop is using it in arrays. Okay, so whenever you have to print the elements of arrays. So for example, I have an array of number. Okay, and I'll write it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I want to print the numbers of arrays. So the way you're gonna do it is, I'm gonna make use of the for loop. Okay, you can make use of the for loop for that. So for, let's say, I starts from 0, right? Because array index starts from 0. I'm gonna say I less than array dot length, right? Which is 10. And I'm gonna say I plus plus. Now you cannot write it as less than equals to. Why? Because then it will search for the 10th element, okay? But there is no 10th element because the array indexing starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, it will go till 9, right? And then let's say console dot log and name of the array at index I. Okay, now see how does it work. So I is 0, number at index 0 is 1. It will print 1. I is 1 in next iteration. So number at index 1 is 2. So it will print 2. I is 3 in the next iteration. So it will print number at index 3, right? Let's see. So it will print all the elements of the array. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to skip one element of the array, so in that case, I'm going to say I is equals to I plus 2. Okay, so it will print first 0 or first 2, 0, then 2, then 4, etc. Okay, let's see. See, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so what has its print? 0, 1, 2, then 5, then 7, etc. Okay, so you know how to skip the elements of the array as well. Okay, now this is all about the loops and arrays. Now coming to the assignment of this week, and I'm gonna restore my pages. Okay, so the assignment of this week I have also included something called as lab report. Okay, so this one, arrays and loops, right? So you have a discussion post, you have a quiz, and you have a assignment as well. Okay, so if you'll see, open this. Okay, these are the deliverables. You have to name the programs as lab 3, P1, P2, P3, etc. .js, right? And you have to submit the JS file, the HTML file, and also the lab report. Okay, lab report should contain the screenshot of the code and the screenshot of the output. So for example, if I'm talking about the program that I was showing you, this one, what I would do is I'll take that lab report template, which is being provided to you. I'll take the screenshot of this code. Okay, and herein, let's say if this is my lab report. Okay, so this is lab 3 program, or lab 4 or lab 3 program 1. Okay, and screenshot of code. What I would do is I'll paste it over here, below here. Okay, and the other one was screenshot of your output. Okay, code output, or screenshot of your code output. So in that case, what you would do is wherever you have your code, wherever you have printed the output of your code, take the screenshot of the code and put it over there. Okay, so for example, this one. Okay, and I'm gonna take it and select console. And let's say I'll take the screenshot of this one. I'll show it over here. Okay, this is what is expected in the lab report. Okay, now one more thing over here is you have to solve all these questions that is being provided here, and I have also provided the sample run. Okay, and yeah, okay. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope these deliverables are clear. And if you have any questions, please let me know and reach out to me through email or join the homework hurdle. Homework hurdle is to help you with your queries and your questions. And the details of the homework hurdle is posted in every week's announcement. Okay. I hope the deliverables and expectations are clear of this week, and I wish you all the best with this week. Thank you.